the Corporate Services Committee meeting, Tuesday, 22nd of July 2025 at 6 p.m. Move on to the agenda. Item 11525. Any apologies for absence? I believe we've only got one.
Been received from Councillor Jefferson.
Thank you. Item 11625. Declaration of any disclosable pecuniary interests. Thank you. Item 11725. Minutes of the Corporate Services Committee from the 27th of May. Are there any comments? Can we agree those as a true and correct record? Yep. Thank you. Approval of payments and appointment of an internal control councillor. I'll pass that over to you, please, Alan.
There's two parts to this particular agenda item. The first one is the approval of payments. We've set up the approval of payments for the period 16th of May 2025 to the 11th of July 2025, and it includes all the payments that we've made. All payments made during that period were approved by the Town Clerk and Councillor Chris Harvey. And as the standing agenda item always says, if any of the councillors would like any information on this committee or any other councillor, please let me know and we can give that information to you. Allied to that is when we submitted the financial regulations at the last full council, the financial regulations actually specify that we appointed councillor for internal control. And the idea of that being that the councillor for internal control would actually come and meet with the town clerk, hold me as responsible financial officer accountable, and go through and do a review of these payments, look at the payments, ask for supporting documentation, check that they went through the bank statement, and then provide a report to corporate services, setting up what they'd done and what their findings were. This is part of something that councils have been moving to. It wasn't in the old financial regulations, and it was certainly something that we were very keen to do. I think it makes it a lot easier for the councillors sitting on this committee to have someone go through the supporting documentation than for the councillors, the committee members, to do so. And that's really what that particular item is. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you. Firstly, have we any comments on the payments themselves? Okay, thank you. And then in that case, I'll move on to appointing an internal control councillor. I'm led to believe it can't be me.
I think it's you,
because I'm the chair.
You would investigate any findings.
Firstly, do we have any volunteers? And secondly, do we have a nomination?
I haven't asked him, but another group I'm involved in, Doug Jefferson, does the auditing of the accounts, and he's incredibly thorough. Doug's got quite an eye for detail, so I'm not sure of the amount of work involved, because I'm conscious Doug does work full time, but he would be very thorough at it.
I think that's a very good suggestion. Would we be able to appoint him in absentia? I certainly haven't asked him.
I think we shouldn't ask before we do it. I think just appointing someone without asking the government.
It's a bit tricky because it would be good to get this position in place as soon as possible. Can we appoint him in absentia on the condition that he's happy to do it?
Some call it provisional.
Yeah.
Subject to his acceptance.
Yeah. So I'm asking a vote on. Go on, Sonia.
Can I suggest you propose a second person in case he doesn't choose to do that, so that you then are not left with no one? You still have a second person just in case, because if not, you'll be back here in August making a vote
That
again.
feels like a good idea. Should there be any other person willing to do it?
But that's the issue. It's
David?
Feeling quite confident that Doug would.
Okay, so the proposal is that we,
Unless you want to do it.
No, not at all. Well, I wouldn't mind. I said not at all. No, absolutely not. No.
so the proposal is that we appoint Doug Jefferson, subject to his approval.
Yeah.
And we appoint David Blackburn, should Doug not accept this particular challenge. Proposer, please. Terry Jeremy, seconder. Adam Mitchell, all in favour. Aaron.
That's Doug, isn't it?
I think he'll do it.
I do too, but.
Before we move on, can I ask you a really quick question? Two really quick questions about the fees. Alan, there's one on here that says King's House gas for 953. We're paying King's House gas.
What we do is it comes out of our bank account, so therefore it's included on that. We recharge it to King's House.
Okay.
So we have a system. Unfortunately, some of the contracts, historical contracts, are in the wrong names. We have to produce tenancy agreements, which we don't have because we were never tenants. So what we do is we do a recharging. So please, do you understand what we're paying for some of our accounts and we're paying for some of their accounts? And we just do a journal entry to reallocate that.
Would that return payment be in here somewhere?
No, because that's a receipt. Or it goes through this is a summary of all the payments that have gone through the bank account. Because we actually paid it out of Thetford Town Council, it has to be on the schedule. The day I go and choose what I would like to present to the committee is the day that I probably am shifting sand. So I veer away from doing that.
Any update on why we still have 3 Adobe subscriptions?
We have 3 Adobe, we actually have 4 Adobes.
Okay.
We use them. You can't, I have a license, the town clerk has a license, my assistant has a license, and Karen has a license because we have to issue all our agendas and our website information on in Adobe.
Do we know how long those licenses have to run?
They at the moment they're running yearly, so we renew them in September.
Would it be economic when they do lapse to get a largest, a group subscription?
We have, our suppliers at the moment we're on individual ones. We have put all that into VMIT, who are now have renegotiated our contracts going forward. So we have one single pay, and I'm sure it is economical. When we first started with Adobe, you had to have, I think, 10 users, but they've reduced the number down.
If you need it, can we just use Word?
Unfortunately, we have, for example, paperless records. If we don't convert them to Adobe and get them signed in Adobe, we have to go back to manual records. To give an example, we have 2 files of supplier invoices. Prior to going paperless, we had about 15 to 20. And each one was printed out. We don't print out invoices.
A lot of extra work to save 60 quid. I'm not that heartbroken over it, just one.
Are we all good on that agenda item? Thank you.
Yes.
Move on to 11925 communications report. I don't propose that we read it out. I'll assume we've all read the notes. Are there any questions on the communications report?
Just a comment, there's been some really good press releases go out the last few weeks, which I think is really encouraging. And I think the social media engagement, particularly with the In Bloom, the train and the Pocket Park and stuff like that. I've seen the likes and the comments. I think one of them had about 600 likes or something. So really good use of social media. I just ask that we don't forget the physical publicity. I'm thinking the Rotunda specifically. There's free posters for events that happened in June. I saw yesterday. Call me pedantic, but I did notice. So we just need to keep on top of stuff like that. But generally speaking, comms are going really well.
Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, again, comms are going really well. Can we just remind, and when I say the positive stories, I don't mean that in a sort of sense away from the bad stuff that isn't have to put out. But if we do have a press release or a positive story, when we put it on the town council's Facebook, can they also put it on? There's about 3 or 4 called Thetford Forum, and there's one called like I224 with a yellow alert. They are the sort of biggest forums that the public use for information. So can we share all our good stories on there as well, rather than just putting it on our page? Because our page is only seen by people who follow it, which is great for the 3,500 who follow it, but there's about 15k on Thetford Forum. It'd be great if we can share our positive stories more on the community forums around.
Swiftly, profusely, because I can't answer your question and I'm looking at the time.
Thank you.
I've asked Karen to put that as an action straight away.
Thank you.
With a good one, though. Please don't put anything bad. We don't need any bad press.
Thanks very much. Any more comments? We move on to the personnel report, 1/2025. And the decision required is to note and report. The lead on this one is the town clerk.
Yeah, hope you've all read the report. Is there any questions that you'd like to ask regarding the report?
That feels like a bit of a no. So I don't think we need a vote to note the report. That is noted. Item 12125, and we have a new safeguarding policy, which is very welcome. Again, the lead on that is Sonia. Is there anything you want to say?
I reviewed your previous safeguarding report and it was written for events. It wasn't written as a council. So I've rewritten yours to reflect that you are a council and not an event organiser.
Thank you. It's a pretty big and comprehensive piece of work, so thanks for that. Very.
Just a niggle really. Sometimes when we get policies and documents that have been changed, we get the track changes in yellow or, the highlighted what the changes are. And then other ones like this one, we just get presented with the completely new policy, which is fine. I mean, I've read through, I don't think there's anything that's a concern, but I also don't have the previous version to compare with. This is probably a bigger change if it wasn't written as if it was a council. But just useful to have some consistency when we're reviewing policy updates.
Sonia.
So this is a complete newly rewritten policy. I couldn't use any of the old policy. So in future, what I can do, if I write a new one, what I'll do is put the old one on the back of it as a comparison. But if it's just changes, then we will highlight it in yellow.
Yeah,
No.
that seems reasonable. So at least there's something to compare it with. Yeah, thank you. Much appreciated.
The tiniest little clutching at straws thing, and I doubt anything will ever happen with it. On that report on page 7 of it, on 8.1, members, staff and volunteers must, it says treat everyone with respect regardless of age, ethnicity, social background, ability, sexual orientation, culture or religious. Can we have gender on there as well?
Of course.
Thank you.
Can you put that on the minutes, please, Karen?
It's 8.1, members, staff and volunteers must.
Okay.
Sorry, there was something else I forgot. When we adopt a policy, I think we spoke about this before, Sonia, where we give the date of the adoption and then the review date.
Yep.
Is there a review date on this? Is it 1 year, 2 year or 3 years? Just so we're proactively reviewing these and we know when it's supposed to be coming up.
I would look at this one yearly. So what I do is once you've agreed it, before it goes on the website, one of the team will put the resolution number on it, the adoption date and when it's to be reviewed, and then she'll add it to the spreadsheet. So we don't do it before just in case you don't agree it and it comes back again. But if you want me to put it on before and then we just change the date, that's fine. We can do that.
That makes sense. Thank you. Any further comments? We move on to progress on actions from previous meetings, 12225, and this is on you, Alan.
subsequent agenda packs. But a year ago, I used to come to this meeting and the action plans used to get longer and longer and longer. And it's actually quite pleasing. That's probably because of the influence of the town clerk. They're getting shorter and shorter. So next month, or the next meeting, we'll hardly have anything on this. The three items that are outstanding are relate to, there is some historical stuff that we have to go back and revisit. The second one, 22923, thinking about that, we've actually, the second one is in progress. We have given Anglia Revenue Partnership quite a bit of work to do. They have said that it could take them months and months to resolve that, but we have had some refunds back of the rate overcharges, so that's come back into our bank account. But there's a lot more adjustments to make regarding that. And then the very bottom one is not completed, but we have done a fair amount of work on the emergency repairs to the kitchen roof. That's still a little bit of progress. We're doing as much as we can. We've got some options that further options that we're investigating. We had that bit of work done where we had the joist put back in, or the missing joist put in, but there's still more work to be done on that. So the kitchen's not operational yet, but we're slowly getting on top of it.
Thank you. Comments, David?
Top item. It's taken 11 months to do the methodology.
It's really just to quantify the potential exposure. It's just a matter of actually processing it, getting the information from Charles Barrow Centre and processing it. It's one of those things.
Why, yeah, but why would it take 11 months to get the information from?
It's just because there's been so many other pressing issues. For example, sorting out the business rates costs us cash has been more of a priority. We're sequencing the work. Fortunately, this is just a little bit of comfort information. It's not a cash flow. So we're focusing on saving cash and expenses, reprioritizing those. It's just unfortunate, but it will get addressed.
Yeah, comfortable with it, yeah. It's just when I read, it takes 11 months.
I think it's taken, yeah. It takes.
Thank you. Any more comments? Thanks very much. Move on to 12325, privacy notice. And we need to receive and review report and updates on the privacy notice. And again, it's on you, Sonia, another piece of brilliant piece of policy work, I think.
What it is Matt probably is aware, there's been some changes with Article 10, which is to do with declarations of previous convictions on application forms and everything else. So I've just put the new legislation into the policy and changed our application forms accordingly.
Any comments, please?
Throw it out there and it's all good.
Fine. Good. Thank you very much. 12425, a job application form. Thank you.
We have a resolution to agree to the new.
Yes, we have a resolution to agree the
Like decisions.
we do. It is the point of meetings, and
The GDPR.
so yeah, can we approve the changes to the privacy notice? Is everybody in favour? Thank you. Carried. Thank you, Sonia. 12425, job application form again.
Oh, sorry, can you scroll down, Alan? I think I might have put this in the other, I might not have done.
You did, yeah.
I did. So that's the changes. It's just the wording.
Is everybody happy with that? Good. Could we approve the changes to the job application form, please? Everybody in favour? Thank you. Anybody against? Did you raise your hand, Dave? I saw you sort of I saw a vague wave. Thank you very much. Thank you. Move on to 12525 contracts update report. To receive and note the contract update report. Sonia.
That's me.
So it is.
In terms of the transparency code, we are supposed to publish information on all contracts above £5,000 that we enter into. Last year, this just fell off the radar, and that's due to my oversight. So we've really gone back and we've done a complete schedule for 24-25. You'll see that there, all these, the resolution numbers are on the very left-hand side. Most of them, all of them went through the various committees. And this is all our expenses and all our contracts greater than £5,000, which are there, covers 2 pages. So that's the 24-25 contract update. The 25-26 update is just for the first quarter. There's these 3 expenditures. Again, the minute number is on the very left-hand side, and this will be tabled at every single corporate services meeting going forward, so that we keep it up to date and we put it on the transparency code part of our website.
Thank you. Any comments, please?
There's a column there for tender or not, and there's not a single one of them that was put out to tender. I can see the notes about additional quotes being sought, but I mean, are none of those large enough that we need to put them out to tender?
For example, if you take the cupola, we did, because of the nature of the specialist work, we had to use specialist contractors. We went to National England and they gave us a choice as an example. The purchase of the 4 vehicles, we went out to competitive, very difficult to tender for that. There actually is one we've tendered for, but I can't find it in the shed. I was trying to remember which one it was.
Garden services?
The garden services, that went out extensive, that might have been tendered. And there was another one that we went out to tender on.
We didn't go out to tender on the fencing, but we did get 3 quotes.
On every one we've got.
We've always got 3 quotes, but for £5,000, you wouldn't go out to tender.
Yeah.
I think they've changed it now to anything over 30,000.
I don't remember what was in our financial regs, but
It says that in the financial regs, 30,000.
I appreciate that there's one thing written down in policy that says if it's over a certain amount, you have to go to tender, and if it's below, you get quotes. But I think to demonstrate value for money, it also doesn't say you don't tender. You know, we are allowed to tender.
Yeah.
So I just think as a sort of moving forward, we need to demonstrate that we are getting best value. So just don't rely on financial regs saying you don't have to get a tender. We may have got the best value with all of these. I'm not sure, but I was just surprised to see not a single one of them was put out to tender.
I'll make sure we take that on board and do it in future.
I don't want to create rights for you, but what I I want to be able to say to the public, we get value for money and we're passing the net part rights with good price.
Thank you. Any further comments? No decision required on that. So we move on to 12625 small grant applications. I believe there are 3.
Those are the 3 grant applications. As you know, at the last full council meeting, we changed the terms of reference of the Community and Environmental Services Committee, where they used to look at or review the small grants. That has now been transferred to the Corporate Services Committee because it's a financial decision. There were 3 applications received. The first one was Hope for Tomorrow. If you see the boldly, what they do is they provide mobile cancer treatments to prevent people within the catchment area of the West Suffolk NHS Foundation having to go to the hospital in Bury St Edmunds. They come to the Thetford Healthy Living Centre every Friday to deliver cancer care treatments to local patients. And what they've done is they've applied for a grant to cover some of the costs of doing that. Is it upward funding? There's always that risk when you have a bigger organisation, but it's really just a matter of are the residents of Thetford benefiting from this? That's ultimately the fundamental question. 1 day a week, possibly, but other residents of other areas are also benefiting from it.
David?
We have a policy that it's local. These aren't local. I just wonder how it fits in. I don't have a problem with the grant itself. But if our policy is local, it's a national organisation.
I think the policy doesn't say it has to be local. The policy says it has to benefit or primarily benefit Thetford residents. We have given to Mine, for example, which is quite a large organisation, but it was to fund their operation in Thetford. And that's really the question about upward funding. Is there a risk that we could upward fund? I couldn't prove yay or nay. It's really just a matter of will it benefit Thetford residents? And it is a very difficult question to answer.
So does the policy say it has to benefit Thetford?
Primarily benefit.
I'll just chip in there. The policy, as recorded here, says, does it operate within the town boundary and provide direct benefit to all or some of the town's residents? I think the answer to that is probably yes.
That can be cancer research, that could be any national cancer, any charity like that operates. Change the policy.
I think I'm very happy to support it. Obviously, it's a good thing. I think we would be right to ask for some sort of assurance that Thetford people were benefiting. I mean, just because it's happening in Thetford, I mean, I would imagine it's more than the parish of Thetford. It will be surrounding villages. People will be able to come in. I mean, I think this is quite frequent by reading the notes. I mean, it's over a year. I mean, our £500 is relatively small towards the total cost. But, you know, if they could just say, oh, you know, we've had 100 people from the town of Thetford benefit, then that's fine. But I just think we need to be certain that, you know, we're not just giving them £500 to fund something for everybody else.
Is it possible to put a kind of clause in to that effect?
Would you specify a number of residents, a percentage of residents?
No, I mean, even if it was just one person, if it's, you know, if it's detecting cancer early, I think that's money well spent.
Yeah.
But you know, we just need assurance that Thetford people are benefiting. That's the primary purpose of the grant.
So,
Adam?
Yeah, so I was just add something. I was just looking online. Really, it's get quite a few different councils who donate it. It's obviously West Suffolk. I think, like, you know, Stone Market Council. I think they're so fund. It's the first one that pops up. They're giving £1,000, etc. So I think it's obviously town councils that contribute generally. So I think it's worth.
Yeah, we comfortable with that if we have a policy that says no, then change the policy.
Yeah.
Or yeah.
So, any more comments first? Are we approving the policies one by one or as a group?
one by one.
So, can I have a proposer to either approve or?
I'll propose to approve.
Thank you. Could I have a seconder? Adam, thank you. All in favour? That's approved. Let's move on to the second application, which is at the CBC. Now, I'm wondering here if a couple of you might have to declare an interest.
We don't have, but we're going to abstain from the vote.
Sorry?
Abstain from the vote.
Perfect, thank you.
It's a non-pecuniary interest, but
Yeah, I just thought it was worth flagging that, as you're both on the board of the CBC. Full disclosure, transparency and all the rest of it. Any comments on the second application? Adam?
Yeah, I think it's good to talk about the local. It's now local. I think it's an excellent local event, and I'm happy with the vote. Yeah, setting up then brilliant.
And it's, you know, 100 people for £500 is incredible.
Thank you. Proposer? You, seconder?
Yeah.
Thank you. All in favour? Oh,
If you can, just note in the minutes that Matt and I am staying, that'd be appreciated.
thank you. Our third application is from a charity very well known to me. Sorry, Rob.
Sorry, Terry. Can I just clarify, we get 12 approvals to be made in the whole year for these grants, is that correct?
Yeah.
So just bear in mind that there were 3 received this month,
Yeah,
and then we're going to run out of
yeah,
funding in 4 meetings probably.
The only caveat I'd say to that is they don't always ask for 500 quid. Some people
Right.
ask for 250 or 500. So that
it is a fixed sum of money rather than a fixed number of.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is
Okay.
the point, I think. This is a charity well known to me, Thetford Vineyard Church. Any comments on their application, please? David?
Again, I think they're awesome. I think well deserved,
Thank you.
I really, really think should more organisations like that at these times of hardship.
As I say, I have a lot to do with them. I'm not a religious person, I am a humanist, but I think what they do is the meaning of the gospel, and I think they're absolutely fantastic. So can we have a proposer, please?
Just a quick question on it. My only slight about it is like they're asking for the money to help pay their rent. And I just think like,
Rather than a generic donation.
yeah, it's specifically to pay their rent. Have they got a plan for going forward? Because £500 is not going to pay the rent for long. Have they got plans to help them with their longevity? Are we assisting them in other ways, putting them in the right direction to help them? Because I just think £500 will go through rent very quickly.
My understanding is that so I have a bit of insider knowledge here. I went to their opening at the Charles Burrell Centre a few weeks ago. My understanding is that their budget is for 12,000 a year. This would be part of it. It would help greatly. But it's difficult for them to split it up into smaller little bits. So yes, it would help with their rent. They are very, very good at getting whatever money's about. Sonia?
Can I just check that we're allowed to pay rent we are, okay, perfect, thank you.
The other observation that we just made as officers is whether you could actually ask that the contribution be used for upgrading of the offices if they did that, because that would be easier for them to, if we asked them how did you spend the grant, they would actually be able to provide some evidence and also give credit to the town council. So it's just one of those factors to think. It's just written in the officers' findings there.
Okay. That seems reasonable. It's unfortunate they've just moved into a new premises. So, that money's pretty well been accounted for already. Any further comments? I have a proposer, please, to either approve or reject this application. Thank you, Ron. Seconder? Annie? All in favour? Carried. Thank you. Move on to item 12725, business plan and medium-term financial forecast for the next 3 years. To receive a note and report, Sonia.
So
Excuse me.
what I've done is I've completed a business plan. It's only for note. What it is, it's just to sort of tie up your unlocking Thetford's potential with a business plan and looking at how much it's going to cost over the next 3 years. Alan has put the figures in. Also, this will sit alongside one of the things that we do need to do is we need to do a business plan for council awards. It's one of the criteria. And this will then go towards your corporate plan and sit as a freeway thing for the next 2-3 years.
Thank you. Any comments?
First thing to say is, I think this is a really quite exciting document, actually. Business plans can be quite boring sometimes, but there's clearly been a lot of work going into this. So I'm really grateful to officers for doing that. I mean, essentially, it's how are we going to do all the things we as councillors want to do? And actually the scary bit about how's it going to work and what's it going to cost. So having that mapped out is really useful. And I think obviously because there was a clear manifesto that became a delivery plan adopted by council, hopefully that gave you something to work to. You know, often in the time I've been here, there's not always been a vision for town council, and therefore you sort of, you know, go from one year to the next doing whatever pops up and, you know, no focus. So I like the fact that there was a plan and it's been costed. I think we have to be realistic around funding. And my own personal view is I wouldn't like to see council tax going up by more than what we put it up by last year, which was 4.99. You know, we need to be really clear with people that we're going to live within our means, but there needs to be an increase each year, because I think a big mistake previous councils made was going years and not putting it up at all.
Yeah.
And so there's always inflation, there's always cost increases. So putting it up by a sensible amount consistently stands you in better stead, rather than the 20% increase that the council had in 1 year. I mean, that's not fair on people. They've got a budget, you know, their own finances. So that's the sort of benchmark that I'm working to from a council tax point of view.
Yeah.
The big gap for me, which I asked to be included, is around the existing residential estates. So we've done some brilliant work as a town council improving the town centre. I mean, if you walk around town, drive around town at the moment, I think Thetford probably looks, frankly, the cleanest it's been in years. The hanging baskets, the floral displays, there's very few weeds around town at the moment. That's not Norfolk County Council, that's not Buckingham Council, that is Thetford Town Council, clearing the weeds, sweeping up, doing the floral displays, and the town centre looks great. One area that I want us to move on to soon is areas like the Abbey Estate, Redcastle Estate, Barnum Cross Estate, where if you walk around there, they still look run down, they still look forgotten. We could turn around and say, as a town council, not us, but I think actually we need to show leadership as a town council, put some money into it, put some staff into it, and hope that the other councils come on board in a way that they have with the town centre. They've actually, you know, we've led the way. Other councils have started putting a bit of money in, putting a bit of manpower in, and we need to do the same with residential areas, not just those 3 estates, but, you know, the whole of the estates. But Cloverfields and Norwich Road are much further ahead. They have active residents associations, but there's much more we could be doing. Pocket parks in the residential estates, improving some of the play areas. And I know the ladies' estate play area is, you know, pretty awful. They've long had plans to improve that. So yeah, that's where I would like a bit more focus. But other than that, I'm really pleased with the document.
Thank you. Sonia.
Can I just say that I have been working with one of your team with the county council, and we are looking at taking over some of them areas so that we can improve them, because it's easier if they say that we can do it rather than asking them each time we want to do something, and then we maintain them as our own property as opposed to working on someone else's land and making improvements. So it is ongoing, but it's very, very early doors.
Thank you. I would just slightly add to Terry's comment there. I fully agree with it. Yes, it's about working with other councils, but I think also housing associations.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. David.
Why will we be looking at the Norfolk County Council land as if it's not Thetford Town Council land?
Because
If they're not paying us to do it.
because I'm looking at them giving us a fund to look after their land to save them.
Which is what happened at the bus station.
That's it. Yeah, I missed that, but they.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I don't think I actually said that, so you didn't
You
miss it. You're being polite there. But we will be looking at, they will be paying us funds to look after their land.
We
Just to go back to the comment on the precept, we have kept that very conservative. What we assumed is that it's growth in the property value indicator, because previously we've had really flat growth. In fact, I think in 2020, it actually decreased by 0.01%. But we've worked on the fact that there might be, between a 1% and 2% increase in that. And that just means that you'll get that extra revenue regardless of whether you increase your precept or not. So when you take that into account, we've kept the precept increases very conservative in terms of percentage-wise, so that it's not excessive. So we don't, but these are conservative figures, just for noting.
Small C at home.
Yeah.
Thank you. So any more comments first? No decision required on that. So we move on to, sorry.
Can I just add to that? Would council like us to update that further with your comments of what we're going to do going forwards?
I think that would be excellent.
And then it's in the document and then we know it's something that we're aspiring to do.
Yes.
Happy.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you very much. That's a really good idea. 12825, to receive a report regarding Heritage Master Plan. Oh yeah.
Sorry, I'm not prepared for this one. Cameron's forgot to give me the paperwork for this one. Has everyone read the report? Yeah, here we go. Okay, so what we need is, we need some council to agree. As you know, part of the Heritage Master Plan has two stages. There's the preliminary stage and then there's stage 2 where we actually do the work. So the first stage is getting it ready to read a stage 4, which means that the work needs to commence. And then the next stage is the actual work. Now we have committed to provide 12% towards the costs. And in the report is the stage 1 costs, which would be a commitment from ourselves. And then the stage 2 costs, which would be a commitment from ourselves. So on stage 1, the council contribution is 65,000. And on stage 2, the council contribution would be £407,355, which is eye-watering amounts. But considering the whole project is going to be 3.8 million if it gets approved, it will be an asset that the council can use for the next 50 years.
I think this again falls under the do it now or if you want to be down sort of label. Any comments, please, David?
I think when there's something comes out, and it's, 407,000, I think it should be pointed out that 407,000 isn't in year 1.
No.
That is over a period, because it looks heavy when you read it 407,000.
If we're hoping that they get full, we're hoping to submit in November. If it submits in November, we'll get agreement in January. So this will be, first year will be 2028. So you do have a few years to work on, and we do have some other plans on how we may be able to fund this.
But at the moment, as there's been crap coming around, like, we are financially in trouble. If it's picked up that we are about to commit to spending 407,000, it doesn't look wonderful. So some clarity on that, I think would be rather enough. What do you think?
Thank you. Any further comments, Matt?
I echo David, that's a really scary number to look up at the screen and see, and just a very simple question of, can we afford that?
Yes.
Can we? We're sure? Can my finance person tell me that, please? Hand on heart, you're happy that we can afford that?
I think we'd need to look at other sources of supplementing our income to do that. We'd need a grant of some sort, or we'd need a contribution.
I've got some proposed amendments to the recommendations, if I may. I think the first amendment needs to be strengthened, because if I was a funder from the lottery or somewhere else, that reads to me that the town council can afford it themselves and I don't need to give them anything. I think it should be included in the recommendation that although we are agreeing in principle, we are going to try and get as much of that money from grant funding as we possibly can. Whether that's lottery money, whether that's Brecon Council, whether that's the neighbourhood board, whatever. We are essentially putting our neck on the line to say we've agreed to this in principle, but this is a very fundable project. It's very exciting what we're proposing to do with St Peter's. Funders should be queuing up to fund this. It's exciting. So I think the recommendation needs to reflect that. Obviously, we are going to have to spend some money, but I hope we don't end up spending, you know, what will end up being close to £500,000 of our own money. Bearing in mind, we took St Peter's on in 2008, 2009. I reckon we probably already spent as a town council about 100 grand on it since that period of time. So we've already, you know, when we're going for match funding, we should point out that we have already invested quite heavily as a town council. So I think that first point needs to be reflected. And the third point is we've got some money in reserves specifically for capital projects. One of them being the Nunnery Restricted Use Reserve, which was from a sale of a building, and the Swain Close Restricted Reserve, which was from the sale of some land. Unless Alan tells me otherwise and they're earmarked for something else, I think we should rename those the St Peter's Project Reserve, so that sits in our reserves and funders can see that we are committed to this.
Thank you. Further comments? I tend to agree, and I think what that amendment would serve to do is dispel some of the peril that David quite rightly talks about in terms of the perception of our finances. Any further, Sonia?
All I was going to say is, so what you're proposing is, in the first amendment, is agreeing in principle to the amount. However, council will aim to get as much money as possible from third parties.
Yeah.
With that, yeah.
And then the second one regards reserves and money.
Are you happy with that? That we reallocate those capital
You need to do
reserves?
environment and get a decision on that, Alan.
I think it's just a matter of just having a look at the conditionalities again.
Okay.
If they are conditional.
One's 120k and the other's 46k.
They've been sitting there for years.
That money can only be used for capital projects, and this would be one that could be useful.
The Swain Close one, we sold the land which the town council owned to build the new houses at Swain Close in Park Close shops. That was a few years ago. And the Nunnery one was from the sale of a building, I think, a long one ago.
There was a public undertaking to spend it on play parks, but it wasn't a council resolution to do so.
Thank you. Can we put that forward as an amendment, please? And obviously you're going to propose it, Terry. Can I have a seconder, please? Matt? All those in favour? Any against? Thank you, Karen. I think that's quite exciting, personally. Very exciting.
Thanks for the EDP today.
The next item is the exclusion of press and public. To consider resolving that pursuant to the Public Bodies Omission of Meetings Act 1960, the press and public be excluded for any remaining items of business on the grounds that publicity will be prejudicial to the public interest by reason of the confidential nature of the business to be discussed. Are we all agreed that we can close the meeting for the press and public? Thank you. Could you turn it, please, Alan?